Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday Night Debate. We will be right back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an exciting edition of Friday Night Debate. My name is Dennis Jar, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm so excited to welcome you to the first ever social issues debate. We have had all kinds of debate tonight. We are debating some social issues, and the issues: polygamy, the marrying of more than one wife or more than one husband. Is it okay for anybody to do that? On the other side, we have seen like people marrying more than one wife from our culture in Liberia. If men can do it, can women do it too? That's issue number one. Also, even though it's not right, but we see married men having side chicks. So the women are saying, if married men can have side chicks and nobody query them, is it also okay for the married women to have side dudes? These are the issues we'll be debating tonight. And by way of disclaimer, this is an academic exercise. If someone support having side chick or side dude, it doesn't mean that's what they are doing. We are only discussing an issue and debating the pros and cons. So please, and if you are watching us and you want to be a part of it, please, we'll have a line for you to call in, and we're going to also have time for you to comment. Again, we want to welcome all our viewers across the globe to Friday Night Debate. Joining me for the first time on Focus on Liberia is Sister Caroline. Caroline, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here on Yama Yama Friday tonight. It's gonna be a Yama Yama night.
Gladys get a Yama Yama Friday, so we say Gladys we want to talk some Yama. Glendy, we want to talk some Yama Yama, and so Glendy is here. I also want to welcome the Glendy Jean. She
Hello.
from BBC. Glendy, welcome to Social Issue Debate tonight on FOL.
Thank you, Dennis. It is good to be here. I am so excited. I love this. I love it. I love it. So if y'all want to say it, I mean, get polygamy, y'all must say it. But this is, you're going to hear it from me straight up. You're going to get my views. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. We're also joined by Sekou Keller. Sekou is part of FOL. He hosts Roundtable Africa. Sekou, welcome to our Friday Night Debate.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm excited to be here. I would like to discuss this topic, give historical analysis, how we came into practice some of these customs. And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sekou, you want to practice this? You really want to practice this, Sekou?
I want to also welcome Margaret Mapu Dyson. Margaret, welcome to our Friday Night Debate on social issues.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm glad to be here and excited about this debate. I love a good debate. So I hope tonight gonna be one of those. Thank you again.
Thank you. Again, we want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. This is FOL Friday Night Debate, and we are happy to be joined by Glendy, by Caroline, by Seku, and also Margaret. First off, our first topic we want to look at is polygamy. That is, for anybody to have more than one spouse at the same time. Where does it come from? We practice it. My father had two, and I have uncles, everybody that have two wives, and some of us, I don't know if I was still in Sino, I don't know how many I was going to have. Is it economic that get me this way? But first, let's set the basis. Polygamy. We first want to talk about it, the marrying of more than one spouse at the same time. Let's start with saying how you feel about it. Glendy, you start.
So, just like you said, the definition is the marrying of one spouse, more than one spouse at a time, and that is for male and female. There are so many. I can take the views from so many points. I can say biblically now it's wrong. I can say in the Old Testament it was done. I can say culturally it's okay. My individual opinion, it is wrong, but I also have a personal caveat, because if it is wrong for a man, it must be wrong for a woman. So if it is not okay for a man to have more than one, it is not okay for a woman to have more than one. That would be the first view right now. But as we dig deeper, it's subject to change, because this is an intellectual debate.
Thank you. Let me go to Caroline.
Well, for me, I'm totally against it. That's my view. But by me being against it, does that mean that people are not practicing it? People are not living that life? They are. Not only is it wrong in the sight of God, but it's also to society is it hurt children. You know, when you're talking about a man having, let's just say, for example, the man is having more than one wife. That man has that other wife has with the children of that other wife, and property division here and there. So at the end of the day, it's not right in society. It hurts the marriage, it hurts the children, it hurts family, and God speak against that. Even though, like this when he said, it happened in the Old Testament, it happened in the New Testament, it's happening now, it's happening right before our eyes. But does that make it right? No, it's not right.
Thank you. Let me bring in Margaret Mapu Dasen. Margaret, how are you feeling about
Yes,
men
sir.
marrying more than one and women also marrying more than one? We started from the very basic first. Let's understand what you think about it before we go deeper.
To tell you the truth, I have never really thought about it as a bad thing, because I lived with people around me who practiced that, and I saw a wonderful united family. I never saw fighting, but then again, when you look at it, like Caroline said, from the biblical point of what the Bible says about polygamy, it's one man, one woman is my idea of a marriage. And also why it also brings me to think about a man who wants who's in a regular marriage and wants a polygamous a polygamous marriage. Why is that? Is it then where is the other woman coming? Where does she fit in? It brings in competition. It brings in a lot of problem, and there is a disadvantage, and it's usually not good in this day and age. So really, I'm like not too okay with it.
All right, and we're going to go deeper. We've been joined by Benjamin Jonah. Ben, please turn your phone around in landscape view so we can have a better picture quality if you can.
Oh, really?
And sideway, yeah, sideway, keep going, yeah. Ben, all right. We want to welcome Benjamin Jonah. Ben, welcome to the discussion. Let me start with you. We are discussing polygamy. Women marrying more than one, and men marrying more than one at the same time. What is your, first of all, to start with, what is your feeling towards that? How do you feel about that?
I think it's okay for a man to marry more than one, but not the other way around.
But look at trouble they.
That's all right.
But
And
look at
then,
them coming to come. That's
That's all
for the whole
right.
team right now.
Yeah.
We'll deal with that
All
today,
right. Thank you, Ben. And Ben, you were not here when we introduced it. Ben
You
is
see,
also,
Dennis trying to save Benjamin right now. He just jumped in the show and he keep with that kind of no problem. We got you, Ben. We got you.
Ben,
Deal with
welcome
that
to the
today.
show. Just Ben is joining us from Minnesota. Ben has been on the show before. So welcome, Ben, and thanks for joining.
thank you.
Hello, Ben.
We are
Hi.
also expecting Steve Bole, aka Moses, to be part of the
Moses,
show.
Moses.
That's our psychologist. So he will
Yes.
tell us. So Sekou is Sekou, first tell us how you feel about this and where did this all come from, according to you? Because you like to dig into all this history. Tell me.
Yes. Thank you very much. You know, the definition has been given already. When you speak of polygamy, is having more than one spouse on either side. Either the man have two wives, three, four, any number. The same thing for the woman. So this is a cultural issue. It has to do with people culture, their value, or over time, how they see what is right and what is wrong. When it comes to Africa, we know polygamy, polygyny, which is men having more than one wife, have been institutionalized for a very long time. That is men having more than one wife. The origin, it traced to the kings. African kings were usually forced to marry. They were even forced because when they have alliances with other kingdoms, they were forced to take a daughter from the other kingdom so that they will assure them that I will not fight you because I have your daughter with me as my wife. So this is how kings started having more than one woman. Then from there, rich people started also doing it and warriors. But majority of the men in most African society used to have one wife. It was the kings and the warriors and the wealthy men. They were the one who were given that exception to have more than one wife. When it comes to polyandry, where women having more than one husband, that's not common in Africa. There are a few tribes who are doing it. There are a few tribes where you find it's predominant in Asia, it's predominant in early Chinese culture in among the Mongolians, but it's not common in Africa and it has not been institutionalized. But now culture progresses over time. Do we now in the 21st century wish to continue with this culture or not? I think that's where the debate is.
Well, what is your view on it? Is it right or is it wrong?
Okay. So my personal view coming from a Muslim background or Madingo, my ethnic group, even though I no longer subscribe to some other beliefs, but I believe that in this 21st century, based on the economics, based on the way our society is progressing, I think polygamy should be abandoned.
So how can it be based on the economics and you want to abandon it? So
Yeah.
the first thing that stands up to me is if you have polygamy, right? You have, let's say, two wives. A man has two wives. How is that not economically beneficial to them?
Okay.
How is it not?
We live in a capitalist system, okay, where we all work and earn some money. Our kids, we have responsibility to send children to school. We want to give them better education. If I have two wives, I'm likely to have 4, 5, 7, 8 children or more. Okay.
But hold on.
Let me learn. You say
yeah, okay, learn.
Why it's not yes. So by having more children, responsibility increases. You're talking about we in the West here, we talk of child support. If I have 2 women, 2, 3 women, and maybe I divorce them and then all of them go with their children, I have to pay child support for all the children.
But the intention is for you not to divorce them. The intention is for you to live with them.
Okay,
so
yeah,
why are you thinking about child support
living
when
with
you
I
them,
don't want to go. I don't
living with them, number one is housing. In most polygamous family in the ancient world, the women live apart in 2 different apartments or different houses, sometimes apart. So now the rent come in. If I have to take 2 different apartments to put 2 women there or 3 women, how much am I going to make in a month?
All right. So your reason, that economic reason, right?
Economic
And
Okay.
the
reasons should be a
assumption is
bother.
everybody live in the West.
Suppose the other woman, suppose you got a woman that is not that can't have children.
So I don't even want to go. I mean, I'm sorry, Margaret. I don't
You
even
know.
want to go there. I want
Okay.
to start from where he started from.
Mhm.
This may give us historical analysis, linking
Okay.
it to Africa, linking it to kings. So why will you not interject Western world? Because when we're looking at Africa and looking at people living on the farm, then polygamy works for
Okay.
them.
I
When
speak
you're
of-
not, when you're not interjecting Western culture, and not
Child support, all
everybody
of
in the
that.
village works. Not
But
everybody.
Western culture does not limit people right now in America that we live in. I was just watching I think this deadline like sometime last week. There was this white couple. There was this white man married to 5 women right now. Like I'm telling you, last week in another state in this
And it looks
country that we
good,
live
you
in.
know.
So it has nothing to do with African culture. It has nothing to do with African or kings or whatever. Yes, back in the days, that's where it came from. But
That's
now, in the
community.
21st century, it's still happening. People are still marrying. A man is still marrying more than one wife. And then, in other words, when a woman try to do it, it's a taboo on a woman. So
No,
why is it
we'll
okay
leave
for
that
the
part
man?
we'll leave
No,
that
no,
part for
hold on,
Ben.
Glenny.
Yeah,
Glenny, hold
because
on.
that one that with woman doing it, I won't go there because
Come to the
No,
woman.
no, but what I'm saying,
Why
if the
did you
men
go there?
think that it's okay for them to still live in the ancient days in this 21st century where
I would
everything is civilized and stuff,
Wendy
then
and
what makes them
Caroline.
think that women can do it too?
All right, all right.
I would like to first ask why. Why is it okay for a man to have more than one wife? Why does a man feel that he needs that? Maybe if we touch that first, then we can go on. Why?
Okay.
What is the reason?
No, hold on, Sekou. So
Is it
Sekou, you say it
financial?
should be abandoned. Ben, you
Is
say
it is it
it should be done, right, Ben?
Yeah, yeah.
So let me start with Ben and answer my full question. So why is it okay? Why should a man have more than one?
yeah.
You know,
What is it?
there are so many reasons why that should happen. In the first place, the way how men are built biologically, um, uh, men I always like the ones who are there to go and get stuff. They go out, get stuff. Look, when you look at the way how God created us, all right, God even in the Bible itself,
I don't
in
know
the
how
first
scared
place,
how you
Wendy,
want
your
to take
face that
yourself.
look
You
one
gotta
thing.
listen to the man.
Yeah, look, the look on your
right?
face. Wendy,
And we're looking at Ben, so I didn't even
In
understand
the
you,
first
Ben.
place, in
Just
the
think
first
that
place,
Ben are go.
Let's
And
go, Ben.
you here you have 3 women, independent women here on this show, and you have the audacity to say men are go getters, and you think women are what?
But Glenn,
no.
you gotta let him man finish.
Anyway,
Now let him man finish.
yeah, I'm not in any way trying to
Oh
take
God.
anything away from women. In the first place, so I will use science and use the Bible. Let's see the way how the Bible first started. In the first place, are we going to blame God? Why did God make men first and the woman second? Why didn't
Is that
He
your
create? Why didn't God create both of them at the same time? He created one
Because when
before the
God
other.
created us, after God created us, first
Yeah,
of all, we are not from the dust. First of
is
all, we
that
are
a
from the
why?
man.
The reason why?
First of all, God created Adam and Eve. He created Eve, and
no,
Adam.
He
If you want to
created
go to the
Adam
Bible,
and then out of a man's rib. So
Uh-huh.
my entire body
He
is just
created
one
a help
component of
meet.
it's just one component of me that
Mhm.
made you.
But
One
that one
component.
that is that one component that now has led you to one multiples of that component.
if
Right,
God
right.
Is
is
that
one
the
of
So
reason
you,
for
and
wanting
He made
more?
one Eve for
How
you
many
to take care of
races,
that one
Wendy?
Eve.
How
God
many
made
so
that
races?
if you
one Eve
give
for you to take care of that one Eve. And the reason why we in the mess that we are in today, because you, the man, you neglected your
Caroline, they're going to
position.
narrow
Okay,
it
so
down.
but the
Caroline, after
dominance
then we'll come to
no
you to tell us why you think it's not okay. So hold
No,
on.
no, you did not answer
Well,
why
let
a
but
man
Ben
want
but
finish.
you
to
guys
Let Ben
didn't
have
get
Let
finish.
Ben finish.
multiple wives. It has
Let
not been
Ben
answered.
finish.
Yeah,
Let
let
Why
them
me
does
finish.
Give
a
me a
man
chance to
need that?
explain to you why.
Sekou, can you tell me why a man would need
No, no, Sekou
a
didn't
What
say
second
that.
wife?
that let Ben go ahead continue. I'm
Okay,
sorry, I'm
Ben,
not
Ben.
gonna
Okay,
interrupt
Ben.
you,
All right,
but
I want to
I'm
go
just
back to
telling you
him.
in the Garden of Eden, it was just Adam and Eve. It wasn't Eve and Adam. And when God gave Adam the responsibility to take care of Eve, if he had done what God told him to do, at this time, the man would feel like he's naked to go look for another female
thank you.
You
All
know,
right.
and
we
leave
gotta
his
tell
So wait,
everybody.
responsibility.
I
hold
gotta
on,
help
Ben.
the.
I
I will help the
said
men
that
there
I
out
will
here
use the
too.
Bible and
I
I will
will
use
help the men there
science.
at a certain point.
So
But
I am
Ben need
still
to
on the
answer me. They
aspect
gotta
of the
tell me why
Bible
these
here.
men there must need these women.
In the first place, God gave men authority what to do with everything that he had in the garden. So he had dominion over everything, even down to
Mm-hmm.
Eve. He had
Yes,
dominion.
Genesis 1:26. Yes, so
So when
28. Yeah.
so when you have dominion, which means when you have control over
You can
everything,
get
you make the
anything you
decision.
want, Ken. Okay, we got you. Let,
Thank
let me
you.
let
So
me hold on, Caroline. We'll ask you to why it's not okay, but let me bring in Evis Morris. Evis is a young man. Evis, what do you believe about all this?
Wanna see a face?
Well, thank you, Mr. Jai.
Evan, if you see Miami, we want you here. We want to see your face.
No,
Evis,
no, no,
Evis is white man, so he think he doesn't look like Liberian. That's why he doesn't know the shade. Go
no,
ahead,
But
no,
that's
Evis.
no.
not
No,
that.
let's
But
not share again. We discuss.
let me just say this. For me, I agree with the guys on the panel, right?
Uh,
And I think as a young man, I think polygamy is mostly about economic, reasons. Right
Yes.
now, if you go back to our little country in Liberia, why do you see most of these ministers having all the girlfriends? Because women flock to the men with the most resource. So they will negate the fact that you have a wife simply because you can provide a better life for them. You can support them,
Are you
support their
serious?
lifestyle.
I
No,
don't
no,
even
we
we're
we
not
have
gonna
to be
even
honest
have you
about
say
this.
that here. We're
No,
not
we
even gonna
have
no,
allow you to say that
no.
here.
I'm
No, no,
saying
no, no,
for
no, no, no,
you,
no,
for
no,
you,
no,
it will
no,
be
no, no,
different.
no,
But in
no, no,
Liberia, when
no.
it comes to
no, no,
okay,
no,
so
no. We're
so
not
Not
why
talking
all
why
about
do
that.
young
Liberian
women
girls,
why do
not
young
all
women
Liberian
follow why do
girls,
young
So you're
women
not gonna let him
I'm
not
not
talk?
It
saying
will
you
not
ladies.
happen
but
here.
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
saying
We're
but
you
not
it's not
talking
all
about
ladies.
that.
You
Liberian
ladies
Let
Listen,
women.
yourselves
That
African men for
we
a
are not
better
there
talking
life.
are
about
there
polygamy
are
That's
on
not
here.
very
true.
there
Polygamy
are
on here. We're talking about
independent,
polygamy as a whole.
educated Liberian women that are
yeah.
married and
Oh, you're gonna let a man
faithful.
finish?
No,
Yeah,
no,
There
yeah,
you
are
ain't
yeah,
even
come on
yeah.
your face
single,
and you better
there are
finish
even
asking.
educated single Liberian women in Liberia that are making it without
Without
being
needing a
Yes,
man.
but the
exactly.
majority,
You
so
know,
why
I
do
would
you
think
think these girls are side chick? Because the minister is so handsome.
No, because
Why do you
because
think
Why
they're
the
do you
men
side
think
they
we
chicks?
cannot
have why
keep
do you
no
think women
because
are
the
side
men
dudes?
because
Why do
some
you
of the
think women
men
are side
they
dudes?
are not satisfied with what they have. They are so selfish.
So why
They are
don't
so
the
insecure.
young
no,
girls
no.
reject the
You know
Evan,
men?
why? Excuse me,
we're
Dennis.
talking the first part we're
Excuse
talking about
me.
is marrying
If
more
Well,
than
let,
you
one
let
can
wife.
Margaret
answer,
wait. Margaret, well,
And that's the point I was trying to make, but the ladies didn't give me a chance. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
No
but you
point
can't
is
keep
no
start.
making
but
the point and say we're
No,
trying to
please.
go after men here,
No,
brother.
no,
You
no,
gotta stick with the
I'm
plan.
not talking about America. I didn't even mention America. I
no,
mentioned
let
but
Liberia
you
Evan
specifically
cannot
because of the
finish.
generalize a Liberian woman to be a side chick because of economic reason. Because I
Thank
know
So
you.
there are
what's the
independent
reason?
Benny,
Liberian women
Do
Benny,
these men
I'm
that
going to
force
I'm
women
going
to
to
will
sleep
say
with
not
them?
something,
Let me
and
settle
make
maybe
it
I
for
will
plain.
help him to
any.
answer
No,
what
no,
he want
no.
to answer.
So let me
No,
just
one
say
Can
at
I
Allow
a
me
just
to
say
time.
please
something?
allow me to lay my
Hold
point,
on,
Dennis,
hold
please,
on.
ladies.
Glenny,
I asked a
Glenny,
question,
no.
Dennis.
Hold
Glenny.
on, Elvis.
No, hold
Elvis,
on,
let me just
Glenny.
say
What?
I will hold on Dennis, but I
No, hold
have
on,
to
Glenny.
let me
Hold
do
on.
let me do
No,
what I
you are
can say.
interrupting Evis. He got to
Okay,
finish.
let him
But
finish.
Yeah,
Evan
let
can
Evis
say
finish.
yes,
Hold
and
on,
I and
Margaret. Let
then
Evis finish.
Let him
Right.
finish.
And let me just go back to the point I was making. So if we go back in time to, like you said, Mr. Jai, your father who maybe had more economic resource, maybe he had a couple of farms, and and he had people in his household. So women look at these things and they say, well, I need a man. Most of the time there are multiple women to go around for one man. So they'll go to that man's house because he's able to take care of them. He's able to provide for them, able to provide for their future kids if they don't
Dennis
have kids
really.
already. So
Right.
most even from back then, if Mr.
You know,
Jai
let him
said it,
sit down and try to kind of thing.
Sekou has said the
Hold on,
same
let him
thing, and I
finish.
think
We
Jonathan,
got to listen to
Ben
one
is saying the
another.
same thing. I'm
No,
not agreeing with that. I don't support polygamy. I'm trying to give you the reason why it was accepted back then, and
No,
why even
what?
though we don't practice polygamy now, but we still have the semblance of it with these side chicks because they cling on to the men with the more resource and the more power because that's their way of being provided for.
so
That's
what
it.
you
I'm
make
gonna
of polygamy today?
in our
Mhm.
situation here in the United States of America is
Not United
obsolete.
States, also in the
No,
United
all over, general, all over.
You can't say all over because every country economic condition is not the same as the United States. if
But
a
in
poor
your
man,
view, is
if
it
a poor
okay?
man,
Is it
let's say
right
I go
in
to my
your
village,
view?
let's say I go to my village in Grand Jide County,
And then
right?
you got
And
three
hold
people
on
dollar
now.
there, three
Hold
girls
on,
The
there
Yes.
because
village
you
And
got
have to
money
why do
pay
you think
and
they're
something
coming
that
because
to
you
makes
feel
me?
like
sense.
Why do you think they're
Please
coming
let
to
me,
me? Because I'm the man with the money. I'm the man with the big farm. I got a big house. That's why they come to
oh,
me.
so is
That's
that the
why.
reason why
It's for
in
economic
Liberia you don't give the
prospect.
women the
hold
opportunity
on,
to
Caroline.
exhibit their what
Hold on,
No,
Caroline.
no.
Evans, please,
This
you got
thing,
30 seconds. End your
this
thoughts,
I
please.
just
debate
want to
is
end it
not
there. I'll let the
finished.
ladies go
This
on because I don't
debate
have
is
too much
not
to
but
say after
Elvis,
that
we
finished.
point,
want
but
to
I'll
see
let
your
them go
face.
ahead.
All
This
right.
Elvis,
debate
we
is
want
not
to see
We
your
want to
finished.
face.
talk. We want to be able to understand, so we can talk one at a time
Yeah,
to hear
because
him.
you
Let
are
him say
not,
what he want to say. Then we'll
Dennis, I
counteract it.
I think you
But
have
he
to
can, but
qualify.
Elvis cannot say, okay, this
hold
is
on. Hold on, Caroline. Caroline, you have to wait. Okay. Up to now, we don't even know the position each of you taking yet because people are talking over each other. Caroline, let me come to you. Why is it not okay for men to have multiple wives at the same time?
okay. First of all, I'm going to go back to Elvis. Elvis said something that we have to take that notion out because a lot of some of the men, especially Liberian men, let me just talk in our Liberian community, they feel like because they have a little bit of money, they can go back home into the villages because these children, the parents are very vulnerable and they're looking for somebody to give, they would go there with their flashy cars and flashy money or whatever and just flash it around and they feel like it's okay for a girl to just throw herself on him because he's there with the money. We need to stop all that.
No,
Gone are those days.
no,
If
Caroline.
you,
Caroline,
mhm.
why you say we need to stop it? I mean, there's a reason why it happened. The reason you give now,
The
maybe
reason why it's happening is in Liberia,
it,
in
it,
Li-
it may
in
not be the
Liberia.
reason. The reason you give it may not be the reason. So just tell me why you are against men marrying
But no,
multiple wives.
I'm just trying to address what he said. He made a comment. He said when he go to his village and he see the girl. So I want to dispute that. That I don't feel like because you have money, you can go to the village and get any girl at any time and get multiple girls at any time because you feel like you have the money. We need to dispute that. That is not a good thing to say. Well, I mean, that's his opinion, or maybe that's what he knows he does, or he know other people have done it. But we need to stop that. If you give that little
If
girl
you
in our
if you're
village
taking
the
those girls,
opportunity to go to school, to get a job and work for her own money, she will not be dependent upon any man.
right? But if the person is taking the girl to marry, what's wrong with that?
Okay, if you're taking that girl to marry, just her, but not
No,
multiple
no,
girls,
three, four, five. What's wrong with that? That's
no.
what I want you to tell me.
But
No, that is not right. I already said
Why?
I said it from the beginning. It
Why
is
is
not
not right?
right. First of all, you got emotion attached to it. You got abuse. That's how you see some people. Some men are abusing women emotionally, physically, financially, psychologically. These things affect the minds of the people, and then why you have children, you are not fit to take care of your child because all you have to deal with the other woman problem that is coming in, your husband that you sharing your husband all over the place. So mentally, psychologically, the environment is not fit to raise any child or children in that environment. There's
Thank
a
you.
lot of psychological damage that happening. It's
Thank you.
not just happening to these women, it's happening to the children also. So
Dennis,
we have to think about the psychological impact that it has on these people.
me,
My grandfather had 7 wives, and my grandmother was the seventh. We don't even know half of our people. Do you know some like I think couple of them almost met like the fifth wife and the fourth wife children almost met because why? They didn't know each other. You have so many children all over the place. You don't know each other. Then at the end of the day, what happened?
Thank
So
you.
these things, it's not
Dennis,
just because of the financial
Thank you,
stability,
let him answer
Caroline.
but
the,
it
the
also
daughter
plays
now.
a psychological, long-term psychological effect on the woman. She may have to feel less important because what? She has to compete with 3, 4, 5 other women. Even
Thank you.
though she agreed, and
Thank
the
you,
reason why
Caroline.
she
Let
agreed
somebody
because
else talk.
she
Caroline, your 30 second finish.
Yeah, let me go to Margaret, and we want to welcome Steve Bole.
Hello, Doc.
Yeah. CEO,
Steve
you
is the
got to make it
psychologist in the
short.
mix, so we
You
can
got to
talk.
make it the
Mapu,
response short so that I
There's
can
a
go around.
reason why I ask why would a man
Mapu,
need?
just give your own view on the matter.
Yes,
Forget about
that's
the
what I'm
question
trying
you
to
asked.
do. I'm trying to give my view on it because
Okay.
it looks like as though we just jumped in the middle. Everyone is taking a man over woman or woman over man. Why would a man need a second wife or a third wife or a fourth wife when he's already married? Did he go into marriage wanting them together, or was he married and wanted one more? So there are reasons why these people go into these marriages. It's economic, it's sexual, it's a lot of reasons, down to 10 reasons why a man will want a woman, another woman. Maybe the woman he got doesn't have children. You want a woman to bear him children. Maybe the woman he got is sick. She can't work anymore, and he needs the money to help pay bills. So you get the other woman. And so if you put all these things together, I don't want polygamy because someone there is disadvantaged. One woman there is going to get all the attention and work so hard for the other woman. Because if you feel that,
Mapu,
listen, if you feel that you in this relationship and it's not working, then find someone, because a one woman can give you all of that. She can give you sexual pleasure. She can give you economics. She can give you protection. Or one woman can do that. So why you have to have 10 women to provide all those things one by one? Because that's why you men go and get 10 wives. That's what polygamy is all about.
Margaret, before you leave, so why if the one woman cannot provide all those things that you listed?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
But
one woman can do it.
Hold on.
One woman can bring you stability. One woman can give you
let me finish my question.
children.
I said, why if the one woman cannot provide all of those things?
Okay, then I ask, why do you want another woman?
Huh?
If a one woman cannot, do you have to keep her?
But first of all, why did you marry her in the first place, knowing that she couldn't provide you all of it? So why did you take her to the altar, knowing that she cannot provide it?
Caroline Widow.
No, but it's just like why
in
do you?
America is the number. It's the sixth highest in America nowadays. Around the world, America has the highest. I think sixth highest. You can divorce, but why you gonna leave that woman there? She can bear you children, but you gonna go bring another woman.
Right.
You think there will be conflict?
It's all about understanding, right? If that's what they choose to do, why can't they do it? But let me go to Glendy. Glendy, you know, people and Steve, people will say, you know, what's your view about it? Because if we go with Margaret and say, well, because you can satisfy two people, then we say, don't even have three children, have only one, because you will not be able to satisfy all three, right? So the idea that because you can satisfy all the women, treat them equally, means you should have only one, and that the one woman can bring you every satisfaction you need. If you want
if she wants to, she can.
If you want good or romantic relationship, one. If you want a friend to talk to, one. If you want an economic partner, she's there. Is that possible, Glendy? Let me hear your view on this thing.
Very possible.
Let's everybody get a glass of water and start drinking. Quiet down, calm down.
It's possible. I always say, go back to the Bible. One wife, one woman, one husband. That's it.
Hold on,
it's because the men, they are all over the place. They are not focused. Some of these men need some serious counseling.
Taking my minutes. We're going to
meet you. Then they call you side chick.
So let me just get my view.
Hold on, Margaret and Caroline, your way. Let Glendy talk. Steve talk real.
Hold on.
Steve, that is psychologist. Your way.
It is. Let me just say here, and like I said,
Steve will bring us together tonight.
Let me just say, and like I said in the beginning, when we're looking at the definition of polygamy, we're looking at having more than one spouse. I don't want to take the biblical approach, because in the Old Testament, it was allowed. In the New Testament, it was also allowed.
But it wasn't allowed by God. It was allowed. It was allowed, but that was not the original intent. That was not what God intended it to be. But because the people were disobedient like they are now, that's the reason why God decided, like, okay, let it do whatever. When the king to
We have
Jesus
to go
and
around.
say
Everybody
We
have to
gotta
be able to give their
you
point of
say your
view.
they did it,
say
but it was not
Glendy,
right.
say
They
one
was
thing.
not allowed. I mean, it was allowed, but it was not the original plan that God did not say two wives, two
Caroline,
husbands. He said one
Caroline,
wife, one husband.
Caroline, wait. Oh.
Caroline.
Let's take the Bible
But
out
then
So we
because
then
some
have
God
people
make
will
it
one.
say,
make it
We
possible
have
for the men to
Caroline
carry their one.
Mapu.
Because some of the women they can cause differently.
No. Listen,
Some of
people.
them
This is
women,
it.
we the women can cause
No,
different for the
listen.
men
We
to
just
cause
have
one.
no comment.
Some
If
of us
Adam
we
had
cause
taken care of
ourselves.
his responsibility in the garden of
go
Mr.
ahead,
Jai, you got to
Glendy.
control the show, please.
Go
Yes.
ahead, Glendy.
I mean, we have
Yeah,
to be able to
otherwise
allow
we
to
will just
have
be
other
turning
people to
around, John.
speak because everybody have a difference of opinion. Like I was saying, we look at the definition of polygamy. One person having more than one spouse. If you can come at it at an angle from different perspective. You can look at it culturally, you can look at it economically, you can look at it biblically. There are people who don't believe in the New Testament. There are people who believe in the Old Testament who will want to go there. For me, as an individual, I won't support polygamy, but I have a caveat. If it is going to be okay for a man to do, then it must be okay for a woman to do, and that's my position.
And Caroline, who is saying that it's okay for men to do it?
She said
Is it
if.
society?
nobody, men say
Caroline,
it's
wait,
okay
oh,
for men.
Caroline.
But you ask a
No,
question, men say
I'm
it's
asking
okay. It
Glendy.
wasn't as a Christian, I stand on what the word of God says.
I understand that. I understand that,
That's
Caroline.
my stand.
I understand. I was asking Glendy that Glendy said if it is okay for men to do it. I said, Glendy, who is saying that it's okay for men to do it? Who
I'm
is
just
saying
saying
that?
because first of all, when we went back to this to Sekou and his historical analysis, Sekou mentioned that it started with kings. So if it started with kings, I'm gonna go there on that basis. If it were okay for them to do it with kings at the time, then why was it not okay for them to do it with queens? And I'm saying,
Exactly.
for me as an individual, I don't support polygamy. But if society is saying that it's okay for a man to be polygamous, then it must also be okay for a woman, and it shouldn't be wrong when a woman does it. I'm
Thank
not
you.
saying anything biblical here because
Thank
I
you.
am not a theologian. So
Thank
I
you.
am just saying based on my view.
Thank you. Let me go to Steve. Steve is joining us. Steve, welcome to the show. The question is first looking at polygamy, one man, multiple wives at the same time, one woman, multiple husbands at the same time. Is it okay? Or is only okay for one and not the other? What's your view?
Well, thank you, Dennis, and thanks to everybody out there listening. You know, it's very interesting. I'm seeing a lot of good people, some people I've never seen before, such as Elvis and Siku. But the rest of the people, I think I've seen them on Facebook. Margaret, good to see you. Glenny, good to see you. Caroline, good to see you. And my boy Ben, I see him chilling. But let me make a disclaimer. When I come on Facebook, I don't talk about my private life. I don't talk about my personal stuff. I will never do that. I don't care what question you post to me. I will not do that. Reason for that is we have some unscrupulous elements on Facebook who would use whatever you say against you at some point in time. If anybody chooses to talk about themselves, that's fine. I could care less. But me, please don't expect anything personal from me. Nope, it's not going to happen. Not in this word. The second disclaimer I like to make, as always, anytime I have the opportunity, I like to recognize the Liberian people as the most important people on earth. But most importantly, I like to recognize the Liberian women. And I want to challenge all of the men on here, even Elvis that's hiding his face. The Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth. I challenge Elvis to deny that fact.
And I always
Elvis.
love when you say that. I
No,
always
but that's
love
a
that.
fact. That's the fact. Because if any man wants to dispute that fact, then that means you'll be in trouble with your mother or the woman that you're with or the woman that you want. So you pick your battle. But let me move to the question. You know, I like to start with what everyone has said. I want to agree with everybody about the whole issue of polygamy. The truth of the matter is it all started from the Bible. Let me put it that way, or from religion. whether it transcended into society or culture, whatever it is, it all started from that. Most people don't even know that Adam had 2 women. Well, I know. Most people don't even know that. Adam's first wife name was Lilith. That's Adam's first wife name. You know, and you know, I come from a religious background, from a Christian background. First degree was in religious studies, and so this issue of polygamy. Let me before I make my point. Let me say this. I know I'm going to make this controversial point that most people might not agree with, but it's my view. Men have the natural ability and tendency to want more than one woman. Let me say again, men. I'm speaking from a man's perspective. It is in our ability to want more than one woman. If a woman chooses to do that because she's hurt or because of a past or because of something, that is her choice. That's fine. But I'm saying from a man's perspective, all men, every man has the ability to want more than one woman at once. The only reason why some restraints are exhibited, and for me, let me be honest, I don't do that all Christian, Bible, hypocritical thing. I'm not inside. I'm not part of that. I don't want to be part of that. Your pastor that can be shouting on the pulpit, if you give him the opportunity, he will get more than one Jew. Forget about all that thing there. Leave it. So the thing I'm saying here, I want to be clear about is this.
Right.
Sometimes religion, sometimes responsibility, sometimes culture, sometimes even the position that you hold or the title that you have restrains you as a man to not want to do that. But I challenge you. You give any man an opportunity, he will want more than one woman. I'm saying that and I'm being factual. I'm not going to play around with it. But I come back to the question, the issue of polygamy, this is the origin of it. It comes from the church. If people want to distinguish here, then or it comes from religion. If people want, then Abraham should be condemned. Then Adam should be condemned. Then Adam, you can't say in the New Testament, it's not acceptable in the Old Testament. Then when you're talking, don't refer to Adam anymore. Let's just focus on the New Testament people. You see, but even Paul makes it clear to all of us that if you choose to divorce somebody, then that person must be dead before you remarry. But if you remarry when that person is alive, that means you're cheating. So that means all of our pastors and most of our leaders that got been married more than once, they're cheating. So what you want to tell? So you see,
thank you.
So to balance the conversation, Mr. Jah, in all honesty, I don't care if you choose to be in polygamy, you choose to do whatever you want to do. The only thing, just respect people. And if y'all can respect each other, handle it, your business. I don't melt into people's personal life and people's personal business. Your business.
Thank you. Let me go to Sekou.
Yeah, Dennis, thank you very much. Thanks to the last speaker. First of all, I want to say here, there's something called objective analysis. When we do objective analysis, not necessarily whether we agree or not. We try to lay the scientific, give you a scientific data to why this happened and then why it happened in history. Now, when you come down to say, what was your opinion? That's very different. So whenever we say this is why it happened in history, we are not agreeing to it. We are saying this is the reason why it happened. We are being objective. So to my brother, Steve, polygamy did not start in the Bible. The Bible is a very young book. The first book in the Bible was written around 1500 BC. The first kings were marrying 2 women, 3500 BC in Africa. There was no Bible, and there was no one chapter of the Bible was not even written. So I just wanted to say that. Now let's go back to this issue of polygamy. Like we said, in history, we have to understand this thing called patriarchy. That men, our family that we have today, they started as hunter-gatherers. As hunter-gatherer, the men physically being strong, they were going out hunting these dangerous animals to bring them to the house. The women physically did not have that power to go out and kill elephant or deer. So women were gathering and the men were hunting. So that's why they call hunter-gatherer. So because a man could hunt and kill more animals, he got more wealth, he feel that he could feed more women. So kings, I gave you the analysis of the king and wealthy men as well. So as they were killing more animals, this is the basic family value I'm giving you now, before even capitalism, before we get to this development we have. Men were hunting, they had more strength, they were gathering more food and animals, and women did not have as much energy to do that hunting. So they were home, or they were gathering, or they were doing agriculture. So men likely use that. We are not saying it's right. They use that position, privileged position now, to start giving more food to women, and they're gathering more women. That's where this whole thing began. Now, as we move to this age, the question
before you move to this age, before you move to this age, as a result of what you just explained, so if a woman was not married, how was she expected to eat?
Thank you.
How was she expected to? So if your husband dies, who is going to be having that physical strength to build for you a structure to feed you and do all that? Go ahead.
Now, in my culture, there is something called keta. Keta means if I die tomorrow, my brothers are obliged to come and take my wife.
But I see woman in man business.
Okay, yeah, I'm coming. The woman is never free in many societies from her father protection directly to her spouse. And when something happened to her husband, in the Bible, you even find it as well in many cultures. The brother takes over the brother's wife. Because woman, the assumption was woman should be protected.
If you have more women,
I'm not saying it's right. I'm telling
cannot be left alone because that woman should be protected.
Yes, because in the jungle.
Let's fast forward. We got the history.
Yeah. Okay. Now fast forward. Now there is issue of values. All the thing we're discussing here is culture. If you bring Christian values and culture, your answer will be different. If you bring Western value and culture, even the Western world that we live in, they progress over time. There were times a woman could be sold in the market in the West. Women were sold in the only place where a woman was, you can buy a woman in the market, are white people. You could go buy a wife and sell your wife. You have the right to sell your wife in European world. I'm coming. I'm giving you the analysis of how these things were laid down. So there was no right for a woman as this society were progressing. Now, polygamy today, when you look at our society, I'm telling you, due to the capitalist system we live in, there is no reason to carry along the institution. It's not about whether men, my brother just said, Steve said, men have the ability to want many women. I don't think that's an excuse. A woman can sleep, a woman who is a hawker can sleep with 100 men a day. A woman can do that. You men, you can't sleep with 3 women at the same time one night. You will give her, they will take you to hospital.
So what are you basing that on?
What I'm basing it on? Wait, let me learn. If you're not allowing me learn, what I'm basing it on it's not a biological. Biology is not an excuse for a man to practice polygamy. That's false. To say because men want more women, so therefore we should allow it. It's like I want more money, so they should allow me to rob every bank.
So why?
It's wrong.
Is my question again. Why men want?
So I hate to interrupt, but since Brother Sekou mentioned me, I'd like to just make I'd like to clarify something really quick, and maybe I wasn't clear on the screen.
Let me clarify, Steve, before you come in. There is no biological evidence that men have more libido than women. No scientific evidence for that.
So they're
I disagree with you.
Men are only sexually assertive. Men are sexually assertive, but they don't have more libido than women.
We are sticking to the topic. We are on polygamy. Lead a libido. We'll go to biology another time.
Men will get more women. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, but
let him explain.
Let me respond to Brother Sekou really quick. Let me respond to Brother Sekou.
Okay, go ahead, Steve. So everything coming.
Brother Sekou, if you're not aware of something, it does not mean that it doesn't exist. So if somebody did not sit in a plane before in Liberia and you go there and tell them, say, plane can take you from Liberia to America and they debate with you, it doesn't mean that they're factual.
Thank you.
To address your point, you can't say women should be protected. But then you also listen. Let me my thought. You can say women should not be left alone. You can say that, or somebody can say women should not be left alone, and yet they oppose polygamy or so forth. But we can spend time on here on the scientific evidence that, in terms of men, there are some men that can sleep with more than 10 women a night. They will not die. They will not go to hospital.
Thank you.
I can prove
Thank
that.
you.
That's a side point.
Now without Viagra.
Exactly.
Some of them even need that thing.
Some people don't need it. But let's stick with the issues. I want to establish the point where I said,
Steve, I
want to establish the point where I said men have the natural ability. Men have the natural ability to want more than one woman.
What does the ability
What
mean?
does that mean?
Please let me come in, Mr. Ja. I want to come in
It
quickly.
means
They're
they are citizens.
insatiable. They're
Hold on,
insatiable.
No, your way. The brother
Man.
still makes statement, but it's not scientific support. What does it mean?
but
The
wait,
ability.
Hold on, Sekou, yeah.
It means when a man see any woman out there, that the urge is there for
He's a
him to know
predator.
what's going on in that woman.
So
What does that
let's
mean?
brother Sekou,
I have
It
a
means
question.
a man can see.
I have an
Okay,
answer to that question.
in my
If you give me a
statement
chance.
and just wait.
Yeah,
Since
Steve,
you asked
go
what it
ahead.
means, so I can explain to you is this. When you have a child, maybe you have not had some scientific experiences. I don't know you, I don't know your background. But when you have a child, I don't care how young that baby is. The baby can even be stimulated at a very young age for the private part to start. That tells you this is a natural tendency. It does not matter. It does not matter who maybe touches and sorry for using this word. I'm just trying to make sure that the audience understands what we're saying. So what am I saying in essence? I'm saying you Sekou, if you choose today as a man to say maybe because of my religion or my position or my status, I don't maybe want to mess around with more than one woman, that is your choice. It does not mean that tendency is not there. It does not mean that willpower is not there for you as a man. It does not mean you don't have the ability to do that.
Steve, please distinguish desire and ability. When you say
So what
ability,
you mean by
what do you mean?
ability? That's my problem, brother. What you mean by ability?
So when you can be asking questions and you can willingly respond. So when I use the word ability in this context, I'm saying what I desire, whatever it is, you have that ability as a man to say, hey, I want more than one woman, and you can pursue more than one woman as a man. You have that ability.
Okay,
Listen, slow down. Listen, slow down. When you're speaking, I listen to you. Let me finish. You can ask one question. I don't end the question, then you interject another question. You want to confuse the audience and confuse yourself. That's not the right thing to do. So let me move fast forward. Now, you having that ability to do that. How many women have the ability to get passed around and say they want to get 2 men or 3 men at the same time? How many women really have the ability to do that? This is the context I'm speaking in. And so when people are speaking, sometimes you have to listen to them as opposed to just be stuck in one mindset.
Let me respond 1 second.
No, Dennis, I want to
I was
respond
next
to
after
Steve
Steve,
very quick.
Mr. Ja.
Yeah, hold on,
I don't miss the point.
Okay, after Elvis, then I can respond. Steve said something, I want to respond to it real quick.
Yeah, let me respond very quick. So my brother, what he just mentioned, I think he meant, if I'm wrong, he can correct me. He's saying that men have the resources, they have the privilege to
No. He didn't say the resources. He didn't say the resources.
Wait now, Sister Caroline, let me get in clearly so that I can respond.
Speak for you. I use the word ability. Stick with the word ability in the context.
Okay. When you say they have the ability, are you talking about resources of natural biological ability?
Ability in all contexts. Resources. Most men, some men.
They will seek, they will pursue, they will do all the tricks to get that woman.
Most men, some men have the resources. The ability. Well, I say ability.
Mr. Ja, you got to give me my 1 minute. Let me come in, please.
Now, when it comes to the issue, I would say that men, the society have given men privilege due to patriarchy. Patriarchy, where men dominate society, where men have been given privilege because God is giving a man gender. Most presidents are men, more rich people are men. So the society gave men privilege to do certain things in society. And that privilege is being abused. But scientifically, there is nowhere you can prove to me that men have more ability to want more women than
the
women.
society that gave men the
Okay, let me come in, please, if you allow me.
It's just
Yes,
a privilege being abused.
1 second, Sekou. I just want to say to Steve's point, like Mr. Jai was saying, I think it's a desire, because for men, part of our wealth is our children. One of the most important thing to a man most of the time is his kids. So most men, they look at the amount of kids that they have as also an extension of their wealth. So usually when a man marry multiple women, if a woman is not bearing that man a child, you see he would divorce that woman. So it tells you it's not simply because of the sexual pleasure, it's also because they want to expand that family, because having a large family is seen as a sign of wealth. So from the man perspective, it could be a sign of wealth. Like you look at the Bible about Job. When Job lost his kids, he lost his wives, he lost all his cattle. That they included that to show you that he lost all his wealth because his children was a part of his wealth as well. So from a man's perspective, polygamy could be a sign of a wealthy man who's expanding his line, so to say. I'm a young man. I'm a '90s baby, so I'm the youngest on this panel by a mile.
Don't
But
be too sure.
just looking at myself here in the United States, growing up here, you know, like I said, polygamy in the United States is obsolete because why did you think women was fighting in the 50s and so for suffrage? Because they felt like they was being kept at home. They didn't have the right to,
In Utah, there's polygamy or Evans.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
but that's how do you call it? That's like it's
It's called
abnormal.
polygamy.
It's abnormal in the United States, right? It's
No, it's
abnormal.
not really. No, it's not.
Besides Utah, what other states practice polygamy? You can't practice bigamy in the United States. If you marry another person and you marry another person, that's bigamy. You can go to jail for
But
that.
there
It's
are
against the law.
places in America where it's allowed. It's not only just allowed in Utah.
Besides Utah, what if you can give me another
So
example? I would
Utah,
like
we
that.
know because I mean there are so many places that it's allowed. It's not just we know Utah
I only
because
know
we know it's a
Utah.
polygamous state.
Right. So
Yes.
it exists here. So let's move past that.
Okay.
Let Caroline
Okay,
talk.
no, let Evans finish. Then Caroline, you can. So Evans, let us be clear also that the society is patriarchy, right? And
Right.
so culture, and so there are places we're going to place value and things that we're going to frown on, not because they are wrong or right, but because that's how society has been operating,
Yes.
and we got so used to it.
That's my point.
So let's
But
go a little bit
Mr.
beneath
Jai,
that.
you're talking on this show. You're talking to quote unquote modern women who are, for the most part, perhaps educated and have moved to the Western world. If you go in the villages in our own Liberia, if you go into the villages and you ask our mothers and our grandmothers if polygamy is wrong, they might give you a completely different answer. So it's just the way that people live their life in this modern world that they have a different view. But during our old days, and even right now, if you ask most women, they will tell you, "Well, yeah, my husband can have multiple women as long as he provides for me, he take care of me. I don't have
I
any problem with that."
disagree.
And
Women will tell you
Evans,
that.
even more,
I
even today,
disagree.
yeah. Modern Liberia, because the villages they are modern. I don't know what modern mean what
Yeah.
now.
And if you're looking at modern as the 90s, I would seriously disagree because even way back in the 70s and 80s, women did not want their husbands to have more than one wife. So your analysis is wrong. It is wrong.
Let's go to
Actually,
Caroline.
okay.
Caroline.
Okay. So,
Caroline, besides the Bible,
mhm.
I want to enter that right because it's not all of us. Not everybody will believe the Bible. So
I
besides the
understand
Bible,
that.
what else is your?
Okay. No, but Steve said something about Adam having two wives, but that was before the fall of Adam, before the fall of man. It didn't happen. I mean, that was after. It didn't happen before. If it did, I'm gonna do my research, and I would like to see that research, Steve.
Right. Let's read
Um.
the Bible.
Okay. So, well, that is my view. Like he said rightly, whatever anybody chooses to do, you see the thing God did that hurt men, I would say, is giving us a free will. Everybody has their free will to do whatever they want to do. That's right. I'm nobody I'm not gonna hate you because you chose to, have two husbands or two wives, but that is not my belief. That is not what I believe in. If you choose to do that, that's you.
Right.
Is it right? No. But has society welcomed that type of living, lifestyle in our society? Yes, they have. So, but that doesn't mean I have to live it. That doesn't mean I have to accept it. That is just me.
Right.
As far as everybody else is concerned, like what Elvis just said, he's right. If, for example, if I was in a village, trust me, I'll probably be married to one man with two other wives because that practice is still going on in my village.
Right.
My uncle is still married to two wives, if possible three, right now as we speak. So it's not something that I'm saying that oh, I hate the people or we should frown on it, but that's society. Now the question here is it right? Does it hurt the family? It does. Even if we go, like you said, I'm sorry, I can't talk without referring it to the Bible. If you go to
Okay,
the
I will
Bible,
come
it
back to
still
the
hurt.
Bible. Let's go
No,
to
no,
the Bible.
family are still hurt It doesn't matter how people say, oh yes, it's okay, that's the person's life, but their family that are being damaged. So let's talk about the psychological effect that it has on children, on marriage, on society. Let's talk about that. Is it wrong for us to do it? Yes, it's wrong. But people doing it? Yes, they're doing it everywhere around us.
Right.
Do we have to accept it? Is that what they chose to do? Like somebody want to be the other way? Is that right? No, it's not. But that's what they've chosen to do.
Caroline, since you want to talk Bible, yeah, let's talk Bible
No,
because
I mean I'm not a theologian, but I the little that I
I'm looking
know.
at I'm looking at a man in the Bible who the wife was old and say, hey, I'm old now, I can't give you children. Let's take a younger
And
person.
then what happened? What happened to,
No,
to,
no,
to
no.
Sarah when she gave her house girl to Abraham? What happened?
No, no.
I did, what happened today?
We'll come to that, right? We'll come to what happened. And there are a lot of things that can result from something, right? Does it mean that we shouldn't, because you ate and then you vomited, so you shouldn't eat again?
No, so Elvis is right that we have come to this other side of the world. We have learned, we have been educated about these things. It is time for us to, make the awareness. Will people accept
No,
it? No, this
no,
is
but,
the
but
the
if the
the,
people
the
involved, accept it, what's wrong with that? If through, like, that's why I gave the Abraham and Sarah example, right? Okay,
Mhm.
I'm not well now, take a younger wife who is going to come and help do the chores around the house.
But
And
it seems
also,
Sarah that told her husband to go sleep with her husband. At the end of the day, when God bless Sarah, what did she do? She told her own husband, the same person that helped her to have a child, that the
not
same person
because
she threw out.
things get bad, not because things get bad later on, meaning this is all wrong. That's why I gave the right example. So if the people involved in the relationship accept it and nothing bad happened, because if we want to judge it by what happened afterwards, then even marrying one wife, there can be things that happen. Does it mean we shouldn't marry at all?
And Dennis, I think I agree with you because this is the thing. Whether we want to admit it or not, it happened in the case of Sarah. She didn't know what was going to happen afterwards. She agreed on something. Now, the after effect can also help to change some of the dynamics on the issue. But I want to continue to disagree with Elvis on the fact that we came to Western world. That's why we know. I know my mother. I'm old.
Yeah, I think
So
he's on to now.
I know for a fact that there was people back then in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 60s who did not want polygamy. So Western world has absolutely nothing to do with the view.
No, and let me give you another example. I know way back that this man had like 4 wives.
Yes.
The day the man, and he used 3 days for each night to go and sleep to the women, it was accepted. But the day the man goes sleep to the other woman's house, oh, that woman, I don't know, her stomach hurting or foot hurting, everything will hurt.
People were
To
not,
the extent that she will go
okay
and
with
waste
it.
water in there. So people have, depending on how it is, so people will refuse to accept it based on them. So why can't we let people live how they want to live?
And that's the thing. People should not be conformed to how we want to interpret society. Let's leave. I mean, yes, the Bible guides us, but we cannot say that if somebody, and like I said, for me, polygamy in my situation, I would say no. But if we're saying, if society is saying it's okay for a man, then it must be okay for a woman. It shouldn't be like Ben said in the initial stage. It's okay. Why should he said something to the fact that why should a woman do it or a woman should not do it? The man should be the one doing it. And I'm saying no.
Yeah. So
And I think
Ben
let me just say this real quick. I think we all saying the same thing, but from a different point of view. But I think the question here is, we all know that this thing is happening. It happened before. It's still happening, and it's going to happen until Jesus tarry. We all know that. But the question here, I think we need to answer is: since it's okay for the man to do it, why can it be okay? Why is it society frowns on it when a woman does it? I think that's the
what's your answer?
So I know Carolyn.
Here is my response to that.
Right.
We have to understand that men and women are built differently biologically. We are all built differently. All of these women on this panel could not have been women if a man did not give they gave your mother one of his X chromosomes, you wouldn't have none of you who have existed. No, because my brother Sekou said there is no scientific. So when you're saying there's nothing scientific, I was just laughing. I said, really?
Mr. Bearman, Mr. Bearman.
No, come on, hold on. If
What
the
they
father
say?
did not give
I didn't say
a
anything.
X chromosome, you would not have been women. So men has a whole lot to determine who you are.
Steve, you need to come in. Steve, we need you. Give us some stuff here.
No. Everybody have their opinion. Let Ben say his
So can I
opinion
not
freely,
use science?
please.
So science is not allowed here on this platform at all. Anyway,
No, go ahead.
So I want to speak just briefly to the psychology part that Caroline mentioned. You see, and I would have to agree with Elvis partly that culture could have a role to play. However, most of the decisions that we make, the way we act, the way we behave, and the way we react, most of the times is based on either our past experiences or the way we were brought up. So there is something we do. We term it as a genogram. Every time you go anywhere to meet any doctor or anybody, they'll go back into your family history. The reason they're establishing all of those facts or those bases is because we want to know where you live, how you live, what affected your people, and how it gives us an insight of how you react. So, for example, today maybe Caroline might see her uncle having 2 wives. Well, Caroline might not have lived that experience, or she might have heard about it. But Caroline now growing up, maybe she grew up just being with one man. She's not going to inherit automatically what she saw from her uncle. Her experience is going to guide her to some extent. On the contrary, Margaret could say, well, my experience with men have not been good. Just for example, God forbid. Well, Margaret could say all Labrador men are useless, right? She could say all men are useless. So guess what? I'm just going to live my life. All men broke my heart too much. I'm just going to live my life. So she wouldn't care about all of those extra things. So we have to keep that in the context too, and in factor that our personal experiences help determine whether we'll welcome polygamism or want to engage in this or we don't want to engage in that.
Thank you. So,
Yeah, like Steve said, like Steve said, he's right, because when I saw what happened, even though I saw my uncle, I saw my grandfather, and I knew what that relationship did, I grew up saying that this is not going to happen. I'm not going to bring this toxic thing into my life. So,
thank you.
Experience do have play a part in our decision making.
Thank you. And some of the people we've got an hour already. We're supposed to keep this short and sweet. We have people want to call in. The number is on the screen. Glendy wants to leave right now, but we say she's not leaving.
But Glendy, you even talk about a side check.
So we will not get to the side check because was the polygamy. We even finish it because
we will come back.
We
will come back.
Women, so since men having it, and because we see it, men have it.
Yes.
So women have it too. Mapu, what you say? Should women too have multiple husbands if they can afford, or if there's an agreement?
You have to mute me. Dana, mute me. Then you ask me. I keep.
No, it's because of the background. So there's a background noise from you.
No, it's not me. It is not me.
Go ahead now.
Go ahead, Mapu.
What was the question?
So women also have multiple husbands at the same time. If
I don't think so, because a woman's dignity is not seen when she has more than one man. I mean, you can say, well, it's not society, but really, can a woman handle 2 or 3 men? Can she? What does that say about her?
Why not?
No, I mean, it's just not a normal thing for me to look or even think about.
Right, when you say normal, it's because society frowns on it, right?
You see, that's what we're saying.
I want to say, and we'll go both ways. For whether a woman can do it or a man can do it, why do we need to do that? What is the problem? I already told you guys, one woman can give her husband that. One man can give his wife that, but you guys are saying no. It
What
can
if
be
she say?
those things that are needed in a marriage can be attained in a one man, one wife relationship.
What
But
if
that's
she
So if
your
say?
there's
view,
a problem
though.
that is
That's
not
your
happening,
view. That,
if it is a problem that is not happening, then the woman either need to regroup, get herself another man, divorce the husband, or the wife, the husband need to divorce his wife and go and get another wife. But you need a woman to come and
Caroline
help you
will
on
not agree with you
slave
because the
care.
Bible says we
That
shouldn't divorce
slave
at
care they
all.
need.
The Bible says we
You
shouldn't
need a
divorce
slave
at
girl to
Mr.
all.
come and
John,
help a slave girl to come help his wife. Because
All
I
right.
want to look at that slave girl you looking for now. You want one slave girl, you want two slave girl to come help what your wife cannot do. Me, I can
But
do no
what if you're a
polygamous marriage because
traditionalist? What
me,
if you're
I'm
a
too jealous.
traditionalist who
The way I
don't
am, I
believe
like to own
in
my
one
thing.
man, one woman?
I'm very, very territorial. I let no woman in my business. Okay?
Thank you.
I let my, because in fact, that woman there, I will give her something to drink, she will go. I let it. You understand me? So if your wife cannot do for you, don't go look for no slave girl. Because I ain't going to
Thank
work
you.
for no woman and then
All
I
right.
have that false sense of security that I'm his wife. I ain't your wife or your
Let, let
slave
me
girl
let
working
me
for your wife.
let me read some comments, and then we'll respond to the comments, and then call it a day
But
and
I
come
just
back
said,
because we got to continue. We only treated one
okay.
piece. Ever's here now. So Hamilton Zilly say, hello, my name is Hamilton Zawlo, watching you live from Bond County, Banga City. Emmanuel, hey guys, I'm eating my cassava from the land of sunshine and happiness, Harper City, Maryland County. Yes, because men do the same. He said men do the same, so women should do it. Donzo say, if a woman married two men, if they have a baby, who is the father between the two men? And that was something that came up, right? Because at a time, women had the children. Children were for men, for women. So you could have two husbands. If you have the child, the man, doesn't matter, it's your child. So when it's switched for men now to have the children, for children to carry the man's name, that was something that changed that too. So just remember, it's part of history, and Sekou knows that. So, but if babies are named after their mothers, who cares who baby is for the woman? That's it. So Glennie Jean, if it can be both, you can only have one mother and one father. So say Benjamin coming chocolate things here because Benjamin said, it's not okay for men. Emmanuel said, how about women who have too many serious partners, taking polyandry women? Amanda say, one wife, unlimited girlfriend. That's what people is proposing. Emmanuel say, capitalist system is wicked to women.
yeah.
Vivian, this is not dictator show. Let the boys speak. So you see, you were having problem with the women. Say she had responsibility also, but she still ate off the tree and gave the fruit to Adam. So don't say that. Some will say that Eve had everything, but she still went out to get what she didn't have.
Well, if Adam had protected Eve, Eve was not gonna be going all over the place.
But you can tell the woman to sit down in one place.
So, Mr. Jah, Mr. Jah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just before we go to the phone, there's something I wanted to point out to our to the panelists and to our viewers and listeners, because someone mentioned about just one state in the United States having polygamy. There is something that's happening that we're not paying attention to. It happened sometimes around 1970, 1960, where in the DMS, the DMS5 that we use, back in the 70s, homosexuality used to be considered a mental health or psychological diagnosis. We used to term it as mental retardation. So if somebody told you that they were homosexual, you were mentally retarded, we diagnose you as mentally retarded. However, around the 60s, coming up to the 70s, 80s, they changed it. Now, the reason that they took it from in the DMS5 because they wanted to normalize it. They wanted to make it now for you to not diagnose anybody such as that. But then fast forward, the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're noticing a trend about the issue of polygamism. from the day the Supreme Court agreed that homosexuality should be legalized, there's been a push from a group from the North part that are saying they have rights to polygamism. I am predicting that in the very next future, all states will adopt the laws of Utah, where there will be polygamism,
Absolutely
because
not.
people will say the rights, the people got rights, we need our own rights. So those of you who are watching, this will be something that our children would have to deal with. I just want to point that out.
Thank you. Experience. Yes, she can. Women get hit all the time. Men shoot their. Not understanding that. One man, one woman relationship is God ordained. To the contrary, the Bible says there's a way that seems right to man, but the end is death. So this other guy here talking about who looking for side dude. Nobody looking for side dude here. So don't start advertising yourself. All right. So those are the comments. I want us to conclude. I know we're not supposed to reach any consensus here. People have their view. So
Yes.
we'll go around the room and let you to conclude on the everything that we have discussed tonight. Since Caroline is more energized tonight, she will start first to do a conclusion.
Like Glenny got us on Yama Yama Friday tonight. She succeeded. Okay. Again, Dennis and Seku and the FOL team, thank you all for inviting me on tonight. This was interesting, and I hope that we can come back here again. Like again, everybody here share their own personal views. That what they think is nothing that we say here means that we hate anyone or it's supposed to be that way because this is what Caroline says. No, it's just what I know. It's just a personal view that I'm sharing. I respect everybody's view on here, and I respect everybody's relationship. If that's what you choose to do, if you can afford it, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, be my guest. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Thank
Amen.
you.
Hallelujah.
Michael Jacob said, culture is learned. If the norms of the society call for it, people will learn it and live it. Once it is accepted, so be it.
True.
And Trent said, polygamy causes scarce resources for family. Mandingo family may be an exception based on my experience. All right, let's go to Evis. Evis, you're closing.
Thank you, Mr. Jai, and I just want to thank the ladies for coming on the show tonight. Quickly, I just want to say, Liberia, for example, I don't think polygamy is illegal in our country. You have
No, it's
people
not.
who practice different religious, beliefs, like the traditionalists who lived in the villages and have been living that way for centuries. They practice polygamy, and the women, like the Jacob guy said, once people accept it as part of their culture, they practice it without any reservation. So in this modern world where we live in the United States, this is a show called Focus on Liberia. So all of my views will be, referred to back home in Liberia. So if you're looking at things from the world view of an American lady or a woman who grew up in America or who is living in America, it's different. But if we're referring it back to our nation, polygamy is accepted and one man, one woman is also accepted. That's the freedom of our country. So I think we can tolerate both. And if you're a Christian, you don't have to tolerate it.
How about
religious view.
one woman, many husbands?
Like you said, Mr. Jai, I was going to make that same comment. I would never agree with a woman having many husbands because, like you said, the kids are for the men, and you know how men get protective over their children. So I think men can do it, but women can't do it in terms of having multiple children. With having multiple husbands and having kids is going to be a problem. So that's my take on it.
Glendy?
Elvis, next time when you come, make sure you take you. I want to see your face.
You see my face right now. I like to ugly.
So let me just say, Dennis, I want to say thank you for inviting us. This is a thought-provoking show. Something where most people have not had the opportunity probably to engage in or to talk about. So I encourage that it continues. Like I said, I personally, for me, polygamy is not something that I would want for me, but with the caveat, if it is good for the man to do we must also say that it should be good for a woman to do. If the man will have 3 wives, the woman should have 3 husbands also, and no one should be saying that the woman having 3 husbands is bad. But I think it was a great show. We in the beginning it was a little rowdy, but we got through it. Of course, it's an emotional topic, and I hope and my favorite one is the side chicks and the dudes. So I will be back for that. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Let's go to Steve.
Well, thank you, Dennis. Thanks to everybody. I take full responsibility for everything I say here. I regret nothing, as always. We'll revert to one major thing I said, that men have the ability, like Elvis said. You probably might not have used the word ability, but like Elvis said, men have the ability to want more than one woman or to get more than one woman because it is an inborn natural tendency of us as men. Let us not pretend here and let us not pass around and try to make it seem like we're better than other people. That is true. To the other women, let me just tell you the truth.
That's true. That's true.
I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Margaret?
You can't shake table here against Steve.
Oh,
Let's go.
okay.
Mhm.
I want to say thanks for having me on here tonight. And like Glendy said, that we should continue this debate. Is very thought provoking and interesting. These are things that society is faced with today, and we as parents, I'm sure I invited my kids to watch and see they are getting into marriages and having partners. So we need to talk about these things more often. Like Steve said, he thinks that in the next future we will be going into that where polygamy would be something that would be legalized. So these are things we should talk about. When it comes to Christianity, most of us were brought up in the church, and we know that it's one man, one woman. That's why I said one man, one woman. But there are also things that can go against those things. Maybe if we those anyway, it's gonna come out as we go on to different dates to do this debate and talk about marriages. Maybe somewhere down the line, a man, a couple could see where they are not being okay in a marriage and they want to fix it. By just listening to us. So as we speak here and as we project our feelings out, we need to be, not just playing with it. It's a true thing that marriages do work, but what's happening that is not working today? Are there reasons that are against the institution? Are there things that a man is doing, or are there things that a woman is doing? Maybe someone can learn from this. We should just not come here and just debate and have fun and go. Maybe someone out there, or maybe our children, can learn from this and maybe have better marriages or better relationships than we have. So I want to thank you guys, and I really enjoy, and I look forward to another time with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Ben.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And like I said, I think men, and I would agree with Steve, men have this tendency of wanting more than one woman, and it is embedded into our DNA. And the reason why I use DNA strategically is because the way how the men body is formed, our composition and all that. If you even look at the egg and the sperm, if you look at their composition, if you see how dominant the sperm is to the egg, which is so laid back, and the sperm has to come and just dominate it. And then besides that, a woman would not be a woman if a man does not give one of his chromosome to her. So there are so many reasons, even socially, for men to even be there to take care of women. There are so many reasons why men feel that they need to have that authority to desire more than one woman. And I urge all the men on this platform tonight, go ye into the world and add one.
Zeko.
Advice well taken, Joe. Man.
Yeah, thank you. You know, so now the men are opening scientific book and biological book, but they can't give you sources.
How did I know you were going to end like that?
Well, everything here, ladies and gentlemen, it boils down to culture. Culture is the expression and worldview of a group of people, what they believe to be right and wrong. At a certain point in people's culture, certain things normalize. Certain time in culture, people grow and say, well, this thing, we have to drop it. It's not about biology. It's not about desire. It's not about men having ability. That society accepted at a certain time. And at a certain time, when society get ready and it rejects it, that will be rejected. My brother gave a good example. In Canada here, they used to have what they call gay machine.
It's
When they
not
see
teaching a
you as
man to
a soldier,
go
they,
after power.
can I continue? Yeah. So they put the machine before you and show you naked men. Well, when you as a man, when your eyebrow go up, they say they can't admit you into the army. But today in Canada, there's gay rights, the gays are protected and order because the culture has evolved to that level. It has nothing to do with anything people are talking about. It's just culture. Now, my problem with polygamy and whatever I say anything in culture is allowed. Perhaps I'm the only traditionalist on this panel. I don't follow Bible or Quran. I am an African and I follow African tradition. So naturally, you should say, oh, I should accept polygamy. But what we are saying today, we are trying to rehabilitate African culture. We say any custom or tradition that has oppression in it, it has to be rehabilitated. Polygamy, you want to say it's okay, or men have the ability to do it. Does it oppress women? Does it lead to oppression of women? Statistics say yes. When a man takes more than one woman, women usually have emotional damage. You can search it and you can find it. Our children
That happened in single marriages too.
So the oppression, as long as any culture or tradition lead to oppression, that particular custom or cultural tradition will have to be dropped eventually. It doesn't matter whether you desire it. It doesn't matter whether you like it. There will be a revolt against it because it leads to oppression of people.
Then we can start.
That's what we are talking about. So polygamy is men trying to say because you have the finance or you have the ability to accept sexual desire, you have the ability, you have power, you have privilege in society. Therefore, you cannot accumulate women. You can if you want to, but do you want your daughter? Do you want your little young daughter in the house as 18? Will you give her to a man that had 3 women? No, you will not. So why do you want it? That's the question for you.
Thank you so much. I want to thank all of you for your time tonight. Definitely, we're going to come back and continue. We just did part 1, which is the polygamy. We didn't get to side dudes and side chicks. So I want to appreciate all of you. I want to thank even those who are watching now and those who will watch later. Until then, we're going to
and take my advice serious.
That says we are all Liberians. Have a good night and God bless you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people.